Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Entrepreneurship Now. I am your host, LaShay LaRue, and you have come to the place where we talk about all things entrepreneurship. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and the beautiful when it comes to owning your own business and being a boss. And today, I have a fellow boss chick with me who I absolutely adore. I met this young lady through Instagram, of all places, getting people connected. And what really stood out to me about this young lady was not only that she is also in Houston, but she really puts a lot into her brand, right? And she has a brand that is doing great things in the community. She has a brand that's not just focused on the dollars and the money that it's able to make, but it's focused on the lives and the impact that it's able to make. So I want to introduce you guys to Britney Jones, who is the owner of Best Friend in Faith. Hey, Britney.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. And I'm so glad to have you here. I know I gave a brief intro for you, but tell everyone a little bit more about your business.
Okay, Best Friend in Faith is women's empowerment reimagined for the 21st century. The reason I say reimagined because we have painted this picture of women's empowerment, just kind of coming to brunches and, we have this 30 to 45 minute, impact, but then we don't touch base afterwards. There's no accountability, there's no real life-changing, impact that takes place. And so with Best Friend and Faith being reimagined, we have touch point, we have BFLs, is what we call them. So we actually have membership where we hold each other accountable. We have, members only events, and then we have some events that are open to the public. But we adopt the holistic approach of mental, physical wellness, spiritual, of course, and in business because we all are women of faith and entrepreneurs. And so we literally embody the pillars of plant where you can flourish. And so here we are, Best Friend in Faith.
I love it. That is so powerful
Yeah.
because society has gone a bit out there, right? I don't know what
Mhm.
anyone listening views are, but I can tell you, me personally, I am a person who is very strong in the faith, but you almost kind of feel afraid sometimes to
Yeah.
say that, right? Because the
Right.
judgment is so heavy. So I love that
Right.
you are encouraging women to have purpose based brands. And I love that,
Absolutely.
purpose driven brands. So tell me a little bit more about how you started this business.
Woo, girl, we'll be here all day. But let me see. How can I wrap this up or summarize it? So it really, my whole life, my entire life, I've always felt that there was something more to me than what I was doing. I was I always say I was your influencer of Houston. I went to school at D. Clark Atlanta University in Atlanta, Georgia, where I was Miss Senior Clark Atlanta University. I've done all of the organization. I mean, I've done all the things, but I was like, I wasn't fulfilled. I didn't feel like I was operating in purpose. I just felt like I was operating in my gifts and talents and what I was good at. But I was like, is this really what God has for me? Like, is this actually what I'm supposed to be doing? And it was May of 2020. I was sitting in my office on a call with a friend, and she had called me about something because my undergraduate degree is PR, so marketing, branding. So she was asking me about branding for her company. And then we ended up getting on the Bible some kind of way. We started talking about Joseph. I don't even know how that happened. It was all God for sure. And literally, as we were talking, like God is speaking to me, and I'm just writing it down. And it was like bestie in faith, sister friend, accountability. I'm writing down all these things. And I'm like, okay, Lord, what is this? Like, what is this? I don't
Right.
understand. Mind you, a few months prior to that, I literally was had experienced some of the darkest moments in my life where I was just like, Lord, I'm tired of existing. Like, I'm tired of just merely existing, not fully knowing why I'm here. And then he gave me that. And then, unfortunately, a month later, I lost my aunt. So then I went through like a really bad depression to breast cancer. So I went through a really bad depression phase. And about a year later, he comes back with the same thing, like, okay. And I, because I was going through these cycles of like, Lord, what am I here to do? What is your purpose for your daughter? Why am I here? Like, what's happening? And he kept coming back to me. Okay, I already told you, sis. I gave it to you in 2020. Like,
But
what's
you know what? It's stuck with that though, right? It's good that you kept trying to find your purpose because that's not a question that we're asked in life, right?
no,
When you're in school, when you're as great as parents can be, very seldomly do they say, baby, go find your purpose in life. Go find,
no.
your place in this world that gives you personal fulfillment. So I really love the fact that you pursued that heavily.
Yeah, well, I had no choice, girl. God was, he was coming after me. And
That's how he
20,
is. You don't listen the first time,
yeah.
he will be back.
Listen, and in 2021, unfortunately, we lost another. So we had back-to-back deaths. I mean, literally for like the past 3 years. And it wasn't until I tell people all the time, I literally planned my brunch within 45 days. I gave God a yes on March 1st, 2023. And my brunch was April 29th, 2023. And I said, Lord, I don't know how I'm doing this. Your will be done. But
Right.
it's gonna happen because I'm tired of running. And literally, when I tell you the obedience, my yes that opened so many doors that literally not only set me free, but like set so many women free. Like it was to the point where I had a goal of 45 and then it went up to 50, 75. Then I had to cut it off at 90. I was like, yeah, the capacity
Wow.
is 80. So we got to figure out where these other 10 people, like it was insane. And I was just I was in awe because I'm like, man, when you say yes, it's like it unlocks the opportunities for other women. And it's like if we really just hone in onto the power of our yes, of like just being obedient to God and what He has told us to do, even if it doesn't look like what everybody else is doing. And I know we'll get to that. It's like when you operate in your lane and what He told you to do, the
Yes.
doors that open and the freedom and the liberation that comes from that, it's like I can't even explain the freedom that took place at that brunch. And so that's how best friend and faith, happened with me running, me being tired of you running, me being tired of running and running again, and just really decided to be obedient. And I said yes. And it came with a lot of, tears, happiness, joy, pain, a lot of endurance that I had to go through in that, and I'm still going through.
Right.
But my yes wins like at the end.
Yes.
Just I can't repay what I've endured so far. So
There's so much that you and I connect on because this is something we never even talked about. But as you were talking, I felt myself like, yes, girl, I was there. I did, yes. And when you don't listen, yes, he gets louder. And I say that
yeah.
because that's how my entrepreneurial journey kind of went to the next level. I was in a work environment that had become so toxic, but toxic
Mhm.
because I chose not to listen. God
Mm,
told me a long time ago, hey, I put you here so you can do what you need to do. You can learn the skills you need to learn, but this is not all for you. And I didn't listen. I was comfortable, right? I was
mm.
comfortable. So he made sure he made me very uncomfortable until it just got to the point that I could not take it anymore. And I'll never forget that moment that I gave my yes, that moment when I gave it all to God. I recorded myself. So I have this thing that I do, a digital journal, if you will.
Okay.
And I turn on my phone and I record myself and I just talk. I just talk like I wish I could talk to a friend type of talk. Like this is what's going on. And it's something powerful about seeing you on the other side of the screen and being able to be completely transparent with you. Because sometimes when you share with friends and family, opinions, right? That's why they're cheap because everybody got one, right? So, but even though everyone has one, sometimes their opinions can be kind of hurtful, right? Sometimes they don't really
Mhm.
tell you the thing that you really need because they're giving you opinions or feedback based off of their own life experiences. So
Mhm.
I did my first digital journal and I've continued to do it every day since because of this. But I did that digital journal, and when I went back and I looked at it, and it was just, I felt like I was looking at an abused woman, like an abused wife. It was so bad, it broke my heart, and I just had this overwhelming feeling, and it was just like, no, like this is not. God does not want you to be in this place. And it was almost like this voice that said, do you really think that you were able to be successful because of you at this job or because of the job? Do you really think that if you
Mhm.
were to go and do something else that I'm not going with you, right?
Mhm.
Any and everything that you do, I am with you. And I realized that I have been so disobedient. And in that realization and in that saying, you know what? Yes, God, I'm going to trust in you. I'm going to lean by faith. I know you got me. I put in that 2 week notice, child. And when I tell you, I didn't have a single client. I've done business development projects, here and there, and it's great additional money, but I hadn't built up any infrastructure. I didn't, it just, the Lord was telling me, no, you should have been planning in, but you didn't. So we here now, what we gonna do? And I started putting in that work. And by the time my 2 week notice was over, my calendar was full with prospects of people who wanted to sit down and meet with me and, find out what I had going on. I had to figure it out really quick. Right. But it all started with the yes. And for those of you who are watching, if you have that inside of you, right? If you have something inside of you that you feel like you're being called to do, it's worth exploring. It's worth trying to put that out there into the world because you never know what's going to happen. And sometimes we're afraid to do that because we haven't seen that before, right? We haven't seen that person who looks like me who's doing that thing. And that's the point, right? You're not going to see someone who does it until you get out there. Maybe that is the calling. Maybe that's why you need to go out there and do it, because there's someone who looks just like you who would love to hear that message or who would love to be a part of that business, but it doesn't exist yet. So I love that you shared that. Now,
This wasn't even supposed to be. I know we didn't talk about this, but I wanted you said something, and I didn't mean to cut you off. But I had a brainchild, which was in 2016. I was 26. Well, I started in 2015. I was 26 years old. It was Eva Cosmetics. So I started a cosmetic line, and it was really for my aunt that is no longer with us. Right? We're talking about just starting things. I actually got laid off. So I was in the oil and gas field. That was around the time, it was like '08. Well, no, it was a little bit, it was like 2011. So like around when we were bouncing back from the '08, but then we were going back. It was that little crazy little phase. And so my aunt was coming out of remission. She had ringed her bell. And she went to go get her nails done because she was a diva. Like, I get all of my diva things from her. And we keep our nails done. And so the nail polish started eating away at her nail bed. And so here I am. I'm always solution based. Like someone told me literally the other day that I am the answer. Like I am the answer for someone's prayer. Like I am the answer for someone's problem. So I literally operate as that. Like everything that I do is like, okay, I'm intentional about it. So if I hear that it's a problem, like how can I be a solution? So I literally just randomly, I was on the phone with one of my good brothers, and I said, I'm going to start a nail polish line. He was just like, what? I was like, yep, going to start it. Chemical free, Evo Cosmetics. You can still look us up today. But I got laid off, and I'm 26 years old. I'm a Black woman, unheard of. That was before all of the trends. We had the two-tone, the mood change. Like we had all the things. But the difference between Best Friend and Faith and Evo was I allowed Evo the popularity of it, the uncertainty in me because I didn't know who I was. When we're talking about a purpose-driven brand, like the only way that it can be purpose-driven is if you are identified in Christ, like who you are. And here I am, I'm young, right? I'm like, oh, cool, this is a cool idea. And it took off. I'm talking about 2.5 years. I full time. I didn't have to work a job or anything. But it's like the passion wasn't there, right? Because again, the purpose, it wasn't purpose in it for me. Like at the time it was, because, and not saying that it won't come back, because everybody keep asking me, when is Evo coming back? And I'm like, oh, child, the overhead for cosmetics is expensive, honey. Expensive.
Right, it is.
But at the time it was like, I'm dealing with life, and I'm just really trying to be a solution to my aunt that then took off. And then I'm like, whoa, wait a second. And it's like, sometimes where I'm going with this is sometimes we fail at things, right? And sometimes we think we have failed. Rephrase that.
Right. We think we failed.
We failed because the timeline of people's expectations did not meet what we are, did not meet what we thought it was going. And so we allow, expectations of people to really plant these seeds of like, okay, girl, you better go get you a job. Like, and it's really to encourage someone on here that may not be seeing some of the reward at the
Mhm.
present moment in their business. If I had a me years ago, there's no way I would have gave up on it. But I didn't
Right.
have that. And so I now, that's why I'm so more intentional about, my BFFs. And because they are, again, women of faith entrepreneurs, like I'm holding them accountable. I don't care if you printing shirts and your machine break. Figure it out. Get an ironing
Right.
board. I don't know. Figure it out. We gotta
Right.
get this thing
Right.
moving because you won't quit under my leadership at all. But again, I didn't have that. And so I didn't have someone pushing me. So now, when we're talking about purpose driven, it's like I at that point I viewed myself as a failure and I was afraid to even
Mhm.
try something else. I had lipstick. I got, baby, to this day, we got perfume. This real. I have
Right.
my own, I wear my own product, like I
Right.
have product. But it's like I
Right.
was afraid because I was like, oh my
Right.
gosh, like I viewed myself as a failure because again, I didn't meet society standards of what it looks like to take, like we talked about, social media, they taking off, they showing, the Gucci and the
Mhm.
Louis, and it's like, but they didn't show when they was riding on
Right.
empty. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? They didn't show when they was on that donut. Now they showing the
No.
Range Rovers, and it's like
Mhm.
sometimes we as people we get so distracted by what we see now, but we got to remember it took time to build. And it's like when you have, that's why your tribe is so important. Like your
Right.
surroundings is so important
Right.
because they can pour into you when you are feeling like giving up, when you are feeling like quitting. Like, Lord, did I make the right decision? Because I mean, we're human, right? So all of these
Right.
these questions come about. But I said all that to say is that I started a business and I allowed fear to take over me, and it literally, it's false evidence appearing real, and that's literally what it was. It's like in my mind, that equivalent to failure. And I told
Mhm.
myself that's honestly why I felt like it took me 3 years to start BFL because I'm like, oh Lord, this is me going out back out here again. But
Right.
when you are obedient, I'm telling you, like, it was like a God gave me a second chance at life again. Like he was like, okay,
Right.
Brittany, I gave you something before.
Mhm.
You got in the way of you because it's like, we sometimes every time me versus it ain't me versus nobody, it's me versus me.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
It
Me
versus
versus
nobody else,
me.
me. And
Yes.
me versus my mind, me versus my thought,
Mhm.
all the things. And it's
And it's
like,
a whole lot of me. Whole lot of
huh?
me has the nice one, the angry one, the
Yes,
toxic one,
the
the one who's
tired one,
overly
the confused.
optimistic about being social, the one who don't want to see another human. It's a lot.
It's a
It's a lot
lot.
going on within me. Yeah, but it's hard
It's
to
a
overcome that fear.
Absolutely. But we were like, again, when you go about it with purpose driven, it's like my approach the second time around, my thought process changed. I put on a different set of lenses. And so that's to encourage, whatever entrepreneur that will hear this or aspiring entrepreneur that you haven't even taken the leap to go ahead and just start it. It's like, don't knock yourself down before you even can get a chance to get up. Like we
Right.
go into it like, oh, this ain't gonna work. Women's empowerment is oversaturated. That's why I say it's reimagined. Because you
Right.
ain't seen it before.
Right, right. So, okay, girl, I love you. Let's unpack all this gold she just gave us, you guys. Okay, so first off, I could not agree with you more. There is no real failure. The only real failure is if you quit or don't even try. That's the only way you are 100% guaranteed to fail. I personally don't believe that you ever fail. I don't fail. I learn. That's it. That's all I learned. I just learned something new. I learned going it's not really for me. Let's try right. Right. I learned maybe going right was the right thing, but maybe I went a little too fast. Maybe I need to slow that down a little bit. Right. So it's all about learning. I created this podcast because I wanted to talk about the entrepreneurial journey because of so many of the things that you said, because social media will have us stuck in our head. And as I already said, there are too many personalities, too many opinions just within here, right? I don't need the world putting their stuff on me too, right?
Listen,
And what they put out there is all the beauty of entrepreneurship. But you know what? Entrepreneurship is not beautiful, right? Sometimes it's stressful, right?
very,
Sometimes it's aggravating.
very.
It is living contract to contract or paycheck to paycheck. Sometimes it is staying up late nights, right? Sometimes it is having to build your community, build your network to help keep you motivated. And I feel like we can only truly reach our potential with community, honestly, because there are going to be times that you just don't feel like it.
Yeah,
There
for
are
sure.
going to be those times, and in those times you need to be able to have a place or a person to go to. So I love that you put all of that knowledge, you put all that passion into something. And if you wouldn't have started the nail polish business, right, that you wouldn't have that story and that passion, right, for the struggling female entrepreneur who is strong in her faith but lacks certain belief within herself, right, and doesn't know where to go and how to find her purpose. And I think that's so amazing. So tell me about that next step in that journey. So you have this spectacular event, which kudos to you, by the way, my girlie, for
Yeah.
having that, because as a person who does events and has events for my clients, that is not easy. Okay, it's not easy to sell tickets as a whole, but girl, you push that a little further and further. So tell me, how did you get a packed house? What did you have to do to market that business? Because you said you did it within 45 days.
Yeah. So one of the things was like this alignment of like how to build a purpose-driven brand is knowing your why. And so I knew my why, and I exposed it immediately. What I've learned is that women these days, people in general, but it's specifically my target audience is obviously women, the millennial age group. They're looking for transparency and authenticity. And so I start out with, I don't listen, let me tell y'all something. I don't know. That's it. That's all I got for you. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trusting God wholeheartedly, and we in this thing, we rocking till the wheels fall off, and it worked. Ironically enough, it's like I was just honest. I just
So
told them,
you
I was
were
like,
putting the story out there on social media. Did you
"Mhm."
pick up the phone, call all your girlies? Like, how did you
No,
start
it was
hitting the
just really
people?
social media. I mean,
Okay.
like I said, I know it was a God one because I know that the right people found the video that needed to find it, and they did what they needed to do. But it was just more so like I was just honest with why I was doing it. It wasn't to try to make any money off of this. It was really because I was tired of I want to see women healed. Like I want to see women whole. I want to see you win for real, not just say that I want to see you win and I give you a platform to win with. It's
Right.
like I wanted
Right.
you to understand, like our theme was becoming her, the woman you needed as a little girl. And so God gave me that theme was because that's where most women lose their identity when they're little girls. Like they're 11, 12-year old. Like that's when I started questioning a lot of things about myself. That's when the relationships or the dynamics with the mother, father, whatever the case may be, took place. And so I was that theme alone gravitated to a lot of women because we're dealing with we're 36 and 35 or however old, but we're still trapped in that 11-year-old body and
Yeah.
mindset because we never dealt
Right.
with the issues of the 11,
Right.
12-year-old. We just kept growing older, but we never evolved from who we were. And so
Right.
it's becoming her. It's the woman that you needed. And so everything about that was like I had to become the woman that I'm still becoming, the woman that I needed as a little girl. My mom did a phenomenal job as a single parent
Right.
coming from a single parent household. However, there are things that, we just naturally miss out on because, that age bracket is where, the peer pressure comes in. You're going
Mhm.
into middle school and high school and trying to keep up. Back in my day, it was coaching Michael Kors, like trying to wear all of the things. And it's like,
Right.
I'm trying to be on the cheerleader and I was in the band. So I was like, well, I'm not cool enough to be a cheerleader, but I'm in the
Yeah.
band. Well, I love music. So it's like just finding out who you are. And it's like you get lost in the sauce almost. And
Right.
and I spoke to that generation of women. And I always tell people, which kind of leads me to my next point, but it's like when you know your why, it's like you own your voice. And so those that are assigned to you, they hear you differently. And I think that's what really won for me. Not one, but that's what really gravitated women to me. They were assigned to my voice. I spoke the language because I tell people I ain't trying to be your grammar queen. And English is my minor. Okay. But
Right.
I'm gonna give it to you straight and how it come out.
Right.
Like I'm not trying to win you over by all of these big words, and I can use them. I mean, I can
Right.
do all the, I can wear many hats, but that ain't what you need. What you need is
Right.
me to get down to the root. Why do you feel like you're not capable to do what you need to do? Why do you feel like you have to
Right.
hide behind the veil? Why do you feel like you need to mask, and the gift of unmasking? Like, why do you feel like all these things when you really could just be yourself? You being you is actually great enough. Not good enough,
Right.
it's great enough. And when
Right.
women
And
tap into that, yeah.
they love it. And that's one highlight that I want to shine on something that you said. It was about the transparency. That's what you did. That's how you grew your community, with transparency and authenticity. Very often I get entrepreneurs and their question is, how do I create great content, right? People tell them these words, they tell them to be authentic, they tell them to be transparent, but people still feel like, but how do I do that? Right. Because they're afraid of putting themselves out there. Because if you put yourself out there, somebody's going to have an opinion. And some of those opinions may not be that good. But realistically, we all deal with that at some form or
Absolutely.
fashion. Right. I myself have been in that place as well. Right. Where I'm like, oh, child, I'm getting a little bit weight, thicker than a snicker these days. And and I don't see myself the way that I used to when I turn on the camera. But at the end of the day, there is somebody else out there who needs to see you, right? We had talked about this earlier, before we had this call, but when I first started the business, I was afraid to put my face on things because I felt like, it may be perceived as unprofessional, right? Or people may think that I'm too young, even though I've been working since age 15. Okay. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. So even at age 15, I was still working multiple jobs. I was able to financially help out around the house. I've taken care of myself financially as well since that time. So I'm young, but I have an extensive resume, and I was still afraid to put myself out there. Went to UT, graduated top of the class, and still felt like I didn't have enough or I wasn't enough, and I had to overcome that fear. But what was so incredible when I did, I put my face on, and I'll never forget, I had a class, and one of the girlies, she signed up for a consultation after that, ended up being one of my coaching students. And she said the whole reason why she signed up was because she saw my face and she knew that I would understand things in a different way, right? I would probably be able to communicate and understand her business struggles in which she was going through. And that just eliminated any other doubt that I had in my head about whether or not that I should put my face out there, because that was the whole, like, I didn't even know that that was going to be a result of it. And it just made me think, you know what? If she came because she saw me, why would I want the person who didn't want to come because they saw me? Right. So now I started thinking about it completely different. It's not about trying to please everybody. Some people are going to like it, some people are going to hate it. And for those who don't hate it, who hate it, go over there, right? And that's okay. We don't need to try to please everyone and have everyone be our clientele. So I love that you brought that up, and you are a walking testament of what can really happen when you embody your truth, your story, your purpose.
And
So
it ain't me. I want to make
it
sure people
ain't.
know
It
it's
is
not,
not.
I
It is
lost
not.
people on this
Yes.
journey. Like a lot of, but I tell people, how can I expect my BFFs to show up? And as the leader, the visionary, I'm not showing up myself. It's like I have to I have to set the tone for the organization. So it required me being more vulnerable, which if anybody knows me, I had my select two people. That two was a stretch that I would be open with. Now I'm like, oh my Lord, all my business is on social media, is on YouTube. And my social media manager, shout out to Hey Charlie. She was just like, but people need to hear your story. Like you have a beautiful story and people need to know your why. And when she did it, we took about a 15 different takes. And I was like, girl, you putting all that on there? But it's like when I looked back at it, I was like, wow, Brittany, you did it. And it's like, even if it didn't help but one woman, I did enough. And that's literally my approach, because we get so caught up on, social media and the likes and the views and the shares. I'm like, baby, if you just get one that literally like that you have like you made them better because they come
Right.
across you, they've encountered an experience with you, then you've done
Right.
your job. Like I can't get caught up on who got the 15,000 followers. I can't get, because that's not my ministry. That's not my
Right.
business. Like I have to stay
Right.
focused in my lane and what works
Those
for
are
me.
vanity matrix. And you guys, I'm going to say it one more time for those in the back. Okay. Stop focusing on these vanity matrix. It's not about how many likes, how many followers. I'll take 50 dedicated, super active followers, over 10,000, bought from whoever country, right? Just so that I can hold on to a number. You want people who support you, right? You want people who want to work with you. And guess what? It doesn't have to be people that you know, friends that you know today. I adore this young lady, and we just met thanks to a little something called social media, right? Relationships can truly happen from there. When she had these events, the people were coming from social media, seeing her story, wanting to come out and support. You will find that the people who don't know you from back in the day, right? Those are usually going to be your biggest supporters, and the ones that do know you from back in the day, they gonna be to find, and they may very well end up being one of them individuals that you have to cut off because their energy no longer matches your current energy, and that's okay too. So don't be worried about, oh well, I have a small network, I don't know a lot of people. That doesn't matter. It's always quality over quantity
Sure.
any given day of the week. And when it comes to putting that content out there, you're going to get better with time. So don't worry about having the perfect story. Like she said, she recorded multiple takes of it, right? And that's okay. Just put it out there. As you get it out there, you'll get better. You'll learn your story more. So thank you so much. Well, girl, we can talk about this stuff all day, but I really want to know, what was the next step for you? So you had this event, and then what? Because I know you invested in yourself, right? It wasn't just, okay, I said yes and I'm going to have this event. You actually did take the time to learn more about that specific niche. So tell us about that.
So basically, we started a community out of the need. So originally, my idea was just to have a brunch, just being very honest, just get together maybe twice a year, cute little situation. And people was like, no, what's happening next? I said, oh, y'all want more. Got it. So we started a community. Shout out to all of my BFFs. God has just been blessing us with more and more members. Honestly, at this year, it's been a rapid increase, which I'm super ecstatic about. And we literally have been just having like our behind the scenes, like I mentioned before, like our members perks. So like we have faith and finances, because things that trigger. We have a called a cup of tea tranquility, which is like the mental health corner. We
Okay.
have our Girl Get Active that we did, which was the fitness. So we're like touching, we have a wellness summit that's coming up May 18th, which will do like all things wellness. And then of course we have our retreat, which I'm excited about, which is August 30th through the 31st, which is Elevate Her. And so
Okay.
everything that we do is literally just centered around becoming her, the woman you needed as a little girl, being the best version of yourself, and understanding that you can plant where you flourish. And so right now we had a Love Yourself Galentine's event in this month. And it was so cute. We did personalized bouquets, we had catered dinner, we wrote a letter to ourselves. We played like little, get to know you games. And so everything that we're doing is intentional, because again, it's all about building community. The thing
Mhm.
about it, like I tell people all the time, adult friendships are already hard, right, to maintain.
Yeah.
Instead, especially when you're trying to now build an adult relationship, right? I got to try to learn you as an adult. Like, whoa, that's a lot.
Right.
So everything that we do is centered around like organic growth, because
Mhm.
I can't say that I'm gonna call you and be like, "Hey, girl, let me give you all my business," and I don't know, like that's not realistic.
Right.
So
Right.
we're doing
Right.
things where people like we're putting you in situations where it's like, okay, how's your mental health? So we have therapists. Every event that we have is definitely a mental health therapist on site. Um,
Okay.
we have a finance guru, because again, money is, that's wealth. We're always trying to get our health together, because health is wealth. So it's like things
Right.
that we do, like bonding moments, where we can like come together and just actually learn one another. We have a brunching with the BFLs, which is open to the public, in March for Women's History Month,
Okay.
just so other women can kind of see how we interact with each other and learn more about, best friend and faith. And so we're just always doing events that basically cater to our BFFs, and really whatever. We have a planning meeting, but I tell God, this is the plans that I have. Now, if you decide that you're gonna do something else, just let me kind of give me a head, in advance, kind of, plan accordingly. But it's your show. I'm just a visionary. I
Yeah.
tell people, I'm just a vessel. that he's using. Like
Right.
it's our community. I'm just the one that decided to just kind of step out. But I'm learning too, just like y'all are learning. We're all in
Right.
this together. In regards to
Right. But
like,
it's so positive though. It's so
yeah, for
everything
sure.
that you're doing, it's so positive because
Thank you.
just the same way that I as a believer, and it's difficult sometimes to say that, in public platforms, it's also a societal thing. Like the things that are popular now are just it's a bit much, okay? It's
Trust
a
me.
bit much. So I love that you are actively creating a safe space for women to just be women in their feminine energy, to be vulnerable, because you have to be vulnerable in order for you to really try to heal your mental health,
Absolutely.
right? And I think that it doesn't matter what stage you're in, we all could use some level of mental health because this world is hard. It's not easy, and especially with you
Absolutely.
focusing on female entrepreneurs, that's a struggle. It feels like you have so many things against you. You have your color, you have your gender, you have your faith, you have the fact that you would be considered a bit more conservative, all these different things that make you feel like there are additional weights that you have to carry around with you. That's hard. So I love that you're actively allowing for a space for ladies to kind of work that out. So you did some research, I'm assuming,
Mhm.
and you landed across John Maxwell. Tell me about that process. How did you find him? Were there others that you had considered? Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so so of course I found others, and this is nothing against anyone else, but I've always prided myself on, if I'm going to invest in something, I'm going to try to get to as close to the best as I can. And I knew that where I was mentally, and just I was hungry. I did not want I didn't want a organization where it was more so of like, you just dump all this knowledge on me, and then where do you go? The
Right.
thing that I loved about John Maxwell, one, they have classes still to this day that I can participate in. They do like in
Okay.
person, virtual, all different tools. They had like multiple different sections, and it was just an ideal program for me because I wanted my platform, BTJ, which is my initials, is
Right.
transform, cultivate, and become. So I'm like, in order for me to transform, they had a transformational program. I was like, oh, perfect. So everything was about being transformative. Everything was about, your
Mm,
mindset, how we approach, coaching
right.
from a transformative perspective versus just a life coach. A lot of programs, they just do life coach. But for me, I'm not trying to necessarily heal your whole life. I'm just trying to transform the mindset of how we approach life. You get what I'm
Right.
saying? And so John Maxwell was able to give me that because they have more silos broken down into catered areas that I could really actually hone in on, versus some of them are very generic. And so, I
Right.
mean, of course, he's a little bit higher. So, you
Right.
got to do whatever works for you. But for
But you know
me,
what? You invested in yourself, right? And I
I
think
did for
that's so
sure.
important. You guys, if there's something that you want to do, you need to consider yourself to be a forever student.
Yes,
That it just
absolutely.
that's just you're gonna
Devoted
have to do
student.
that. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you're going to have to always be learning. Why? Because things will always be changing, and you
Absolutely.
cannot be afraid to invest in yourself. When I say invest in your business, it's not just in products, right? Or services. You need to invest in your knowledge, just like this young lady did. Do your research, look and see who is out there who can teach me, right? Certain skills that I need for this particular niche. They have coaches and they have training in just about every category, right?
Mhm.
And no, it's not going to teach you. I'm pretty sure he didn't teach you how to be a coach for African American women looking for purpose, right? But when you're looking for this education, you're looking for someone who can teach you the system, teach you the structure, right? Teach you the outline, give you the bones, right? And then for you to build from that. So I love that you did that. Now, as you created that community and you started doing more coaching, what other marketing did you do? Did you build your email list? Did you start sending out emails? Tell us about that.
Yes, so I have a mindset mastery blog that goes along with under So I have Best Friend in Faith, and then I have BTJ, which is the speaker, the HR consultant, the visionary, soon to be author. I will be releasing my
Okay.
book in August.
Yes.
And so all things kind of, some of them crossover and some of them don't. But anyway, so I have a mindset mastery blog that goes out every Monday to like all of my personal subscribers. And it's basically all things about mindset, right? So like, dealing with freeing yourself from distractions, limiting beliefs, the power of no. So like just all, things that I've learned, girl, I saw that response. When I tell you that power of no, it will bless your life. Let me tell you.
Here, yes.
Period.
Yes.
The end. No, unavailable.
So my
And I
thing
struggle
last
with
year
that, right?
was
So that was
I no longer lie to me. That was my thing last year. This year is I no longer lie to other people. I'm not here to save your feelings, right? And I'm not here to say yes to everything you ask me to do. The power of that no is something we all need to learn how to do. It's a lot of power in no.
It's a lot of power, and I even talk about that in my book, which is where some of the most of the blogs are like kind of like little snippets of the book because I'm like, let me see
Okay.
how like this message will convey. But yeah, so like just certain things that goes under. So I did my blog, and then of course, just I've been more so working this year because I'm determined to get my devotional out and my book. So it'll be an interactive. It's called Dream Again, Awakening the Pursuit of Purpose
Okay.
and your identity in Christ. So it's like basically when you know who you are, then purpose aligns, and then you can do all these dreams. But it's like we want to start with the dreams and not really know who we are. So it's like we've been operating backwards when we're supposed to be going the other way
Yeah.
around. So anyway, we're
Right.
talking about that. And then it's an interactive workbook because I like a book that I can write in, where I can process my thoughts. You had mentioned earlier about digital journaling. It's ironic that you said that. I started, and this was another point, I'm just gonna tie it in when I said owning your voice. So I was the person that never liked hearing myself talk.
Mm.
Never, never. I didn't like recording, none of it, because I just always had this raspiness. I just never felt like, my mom has like this beautiful high pitch, hey, yeah," and I'm like, girl, I ain't got that. Okay. So you gonna get how you gonna get it. And so
Right.
I never liked my voice. And it was one day I was in a car and I was actually like kind of, you know, experiencing like a hardship behind it. And I just cut on my video and I just started recording. And I said, because I knew that was a trick of the enemy, right? Because I'm created here, I'm created to talk, right? I'm created to speak to women. I'm created
Right.
to, my voice is literally assigned to different eardrums. So that means the enemy wanted to keep me quiet, right? And
Right.
so I'll tell you a lie. That ain't gonna happen. Let me show you how this gonna work. I'm a press record. And
Right.
literally, I ain't got no lashes on now, but I didn't have no lashes on. And I posted the video. That was like one of the first videos I posted. And I was like, oh, Brittany, I can't believe you posted it. But then I was like, oh my gosh, that was so liberating. And like it like went like so many people liked it and shared it. I was like, wow, y'all like this? And I'm just looking crazy. I think I had like on a little baseball cap. I was like, I'm just gonna record, what God gave me. Then it started becoming natural, and it started like now it's like to where like owning my voice is like a part of who I am now. It's like no longer am I operating on mute. It's like no longer am I afraid to to just to just speak. Like my voice
Right.
matters. And it's like it
Right.
might not sound like the next person. It might not be as
Right.
polished or whatever, but it's like when you mentioned about the digital journaling and just seeing yourself, it's like those moments. And I didn't
Mhm.
want to cut you off because I'm like, I'm trying to, but it's those moments right there,
Yes.
so much volume to the woman
Mhm.
that is assigned to you. You're gonna hear me keep saying that. The woman that's assigned to all of the pain, the hurt that you've been through, the
Mhm.
lies, the deceit, um, the abandonment, all that you went through is like it's a woman that's assigned to that because they know that they're going through it, right? And you've been through
Right.
it. So it's like you can
Right.
speak to where they are, but if you never post it, if you never
Right.
let it be known, then they don't even know that there's someone out there for them. And it's like,
Right.
I just went to owning my voice. I'm like, listen, I'm rearranging my priorities. My priorities right now is not every follower on social media. It's those
Right.
that are assigned to me. And
Right.
those that, reach me, they reach me. If not, eventually they will. And here we are now on your podcast. So it's like, it's
Right.
all about timing, right? Isaiah
Right.
60 and 22 is one of my favorite verses, but it literally said, when the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen.
Mhm.
even though I've been speaking, for years and was afraid to own my voice and all these things, it's like the opportunities are now coming available because
Right.
women are needing that transparency. They're needing that authenticity. They're needing someone to show up and own their voice, even if it's raspy, even if it doesn't sound like, the who's or whatever. It's like, but
Right.
your voice matters. And when you understand that, you then go back into building a purpose-driven brand. So
Honestly, we're often our biggest critics. We really are.
absolutely.
We tell ourselves this story that no one is going to like it, right? But that's your opinion, right? No one's told you that. That's the voice inside your head that likes to talk stuff, right? That's telling you that. But nobody ever told you that. Nobody ever told you that your voice wasn't good enough or that
Mhm.
nobody wants to hear your story. And when we quiet that voice and we just go by faith, just put it out there, and like you said, whoever needs to hear that message and
Yeah,
receive that message, whether it be one person or 1,000, right? They're going to get that message, but
yeah.
they can't get it from your phone if it's just sitting there.
It's just
They
sitting there.
can't they can't get it if it's just sitting within you, right? If you just have all this talk on your heart and you just have it sitting inside of you, or you've got your one maybe friend or two maybe friends that you just
Right.
vent to, right? That's not how you heal and grow and be a blessing to somebody else. So I love your whole story and you're so inspirational. You've
Thank
encouraged me. I was having not the best day earlier, and now I'm smiling and everything else. Girl, I'm motivated. Like, I need to turn my phone off as soon as I get
Hey, you've been a joy as well.
go.
I just want to encourage you, like, to keep going, keep,
Yes.
showing up, take it a day at a time. Sometimes we really do, we size ourselves up to social media and we're
Mhm.
like, well, does this specific market? And it's like when you just operate in who you are, there could never be another LaShay.
Right.
Okay. There could never
Right.
be another you. You get what I'm saying? So it's like when
Right.
you operate in that and when you own that and when you literally live in that truth, it's like you move differently. And it's like nothing else matters. Because it's like, well, there's
Right.
not another me. So that's
Right.
that.
Right. No, that's
You're right.
true. And there's never another LaShay and there is not another Brittany, my
Yes.
lovely queen. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming on and sharing all of that best friend purposeful energy with us.
Thank
I
you.
know everybody listening wants to know how they can connect with you. So give everybody your contact info. How can they reach out to you?
Yes, I am on social media, all social media. So Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at Brittany, Britney Turner Jones. My website is Brittany, Britney T Jones, and Best Friend in Faith on all social media. Best Friend in Faith at .com. So it's Best Friend in Faith.com. That's how you can reach me.
I love it. I love it. And you guys, y'all make sure y'all reach out to her. And if you're in Houston,
Please.
make sure you get those events on your calendar, okay?
Yes.
And I'll
Would
make
love
sure
to
the
have
links
you.
to all your stuff too. So
Thank you.
thank you, love. Thank you guys for enjoying this episode, for staying for it throughout its entirety. And until next time, bye bye, my cherished loves.
Bye.